In case a week of Trump's own nationwide chaos hasn't yet churned your stomach, we're warning you now. Have some blood pressure and anti-nausea medication on hand. We have a developing story that might infuriate or sicken you. Probably both. Donald Trump has issued a new executive order, and it is incendiary even by his standards. Welcome back to Occupy Democrats. I'm David Reddish. As you probably know, Donald Trump has made mass deportations of immigrants in the United States one of his cornerstone policies in his new term. In the past, he has claimed to want to deport no less than 15 to 20 million people, even though expert estimates have determined there are only about 11 million illegal immigrants in the country. Trump has also said he wants to strip some legal residents of their status and is willing to separate families in his deportations. Though he has claimed he only wants to target violent criminals, actions by the administration speak louder than words. Already, ICE agents have conducted mass raids across the country, including in Boston, Denver, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Seattle, Miami, Washington, D.C., and New York City. Furthermore, raids have taken place in states as varied as New Jersey and New Mexico. Already, ICE has arrested American citizens by mistake, and they have done so without a warrant. Take a look at this statement from Newark Mayor Ras Baraka.
With 3 people who they say were undocumented that they detained, but they also detained folks that were, in fact, citizens of this country. One person showed their military veteran identification and was still questioned. None of these people were rapists or murderers or criminals. The problem with it is that ICE went in there without a warrant.
Now, if that doesn't scare you, what Trump is doing next certainly will. But before we can get to that, we should note one other disgusting trend. It's become apparent that ICE agents are racially profiling their targets. In other words, and contrary to Trump's assertion that he wants to deport illegal immigrants from Africa or Asia as well, ICE appears to only be targeting people that could pass for Latino. In the Southwest, that's set off a major panic, as more and more Native Americans have been stopped or detained by ICE agents. Take a look.
We're getting a mixture of different issues. First, going back to the validity of our certificate of Indian blood, and if we're really tribal members with valid IDs. And there's also instances where many of our people are frustrated that they're being racially profiled. So there's numerous factors that we're dealing with right now.
Now Trump has somehow managed to make a disgusting situation grosser than gross. Earlier today in a press conference, Trump made the horrifying announcement that he will revive the U.S. prison facility at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, to act as a detention camp for deported immigrants. Check this out.
Today I'm also signing an executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it. We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo. This will...
Trump says most people don't know about the facility at Guantanamo, but that's insulting. Americans are well aware of the base and its history. But in case you've forgotten, here's a rundown. George W. Bush established the detention facility in 2002 as part of his war on terror. The facility subsequently housed accused terrorists, most of whom were detained without even being charged with a crime. The administration also had no problem detaining minors under the age of 18. These people were deemed enemy combatants, not prisoners. They were subjected to military tribunals rather than civilian court hearings. They were also tortured, since the Bush administration had argued they had no rights under the Geneva Conventions. Conditions at the prison were reported to be unsanitary and unfit for living. To this day, Guantanamo Bay and the scandal around it remains one of the biggest, darkest stains on the United States in the modern era. Scores of nations and politicians have condemned it and the human rights violations committed there. Now it seems Trump wants to continue the tradition of atrocity by converting it into a concentration camp for prisoners arrested by ICE. We say prisoners because ICE raids have already demonstrated that officers can arrest legal immigrants and U.S. citizens. What happens when a U.S. citizen ends up in Guantanamo with no access to legal counsel? What happens to children who are detained there? How long will it take for more human rights abuses to take place? You may have a problem with immigration in this country. You may want illegal immigrants removed, but this is not the way. Returning to one of the most shameful moments the United States has faced in the 21st century does not move us forward, nor will it solve the immigration problem. But then again, maybe that's the point. I refer you to the work of my colleague Adam Serwer, who writes for The Atlantic. In 2021, he published a collection of essays essentially arguing that Trump's policies were designed to be as cruel as possible, on purpose. Why? Because his hardcore supporters like that. They like seeing immigrants treated with cruelty. It makes them feel good. It makes them feel empowered. And now Donald Trump is poised to take that cruelty to a whole new level. And once again, it will stain his hands and the United States with the blood of the innocent. This is Occupy Democrats.